just wanna get pregnant by you. Daddy still sent me down, fucking Eddie tonight.
This is ass. Recently, there's been a pretty viral trend on TikTok and Instagram Reels of using terrible music to amplify the comedic aspect of some videos. Some of these songs are made purposely bad, and others not so much. Now this video is a bit out of line with what I normally do, which is just playing games that I play on my Twitch streams, but I have been absolutely enthralled with terrible music for the last few weeks, so I wanted to talk about the TikTokification of absolutely awful music. First of all, let's talk about the resurgence of terrible music, and what I see as 3 different times in which terrible music was popular for different reasons. A long time ago, known as 2014, there was a man by the name of Ice JJ Fish, and if you were on the internet back then, you've probably heard of him. Popularized by making music so bad that it was funny with songs like On the Floor and Got That, which grew him a rather large fan base of people who found his music entertaining purely for how terrible it was. In fact, he still drops music every few months, with his most recent song being posted 4 months ago. Now, while Ice JJ Fish is probably the most popular and well-known version of terrible music, this was long before TikTok, and he blew up way before then, basically having a chokehold on the market of terribly satirical music. Similar artists like 645 AR would also blow up off of songs over the years, which were absolutely terrible. Just have a quick listen. I'm ashamed to say I know the lyrics to this song. Yes, he's saying actual words, but regardless, this was 5 years ago, a bit after TikTok first started becoming mainstream and popular, but before platforms like YouTube and Instagram would come out with shorts and reels. So much like Ice JJ Fish, 645 AR didn't really blow up off of TikTok and was more so just popular for making terrible music off that one song that would be put in a lot of try not to laugh videos, because the song was so bad that it's good, with a few TikTok clips surfacing but mostly being popular on Instagram Reels, which would come out 7 months after the song came out, because Instagram users are always late to the joke. So what about the modern day equivalent of absolutely awful music blown up for satirical comedy purposes? Well, there's a lot. The resurgence of terrible music starting on TikTok is mainly due to a man by the name of Yuno Miles, who you've probably heard of. Now, Yuno Miles would release his first song, Blizzard, in December of 2020, so 11 months after 645 AR's Into Trap, and 4 months after Instagram Reels came out. Now, this song wasn't necessarily super popular, but it did feature in various memes making fun of ad-libs like this.
This is the sound of a cat in the snow.
However, he didn't really take off until 2022 with his song Road to Riches, where he does this.
This is a pigeon.
And then he would begin going viral on TikTok and Instagram Reels for this song and many others within the span of 2020 to 2024, with songs like Martin Luther King and Four Wheeler, which sounds like this.
My grandma just called me a fucking nigger. I don't know why she mad, so I had to hit her.
Now, for those of you who somehow have never heard a Yuno Miles song before this video, he was and still is actually extremely popular, with his latest song from just a month ago having about 500,000 views right now, called Ray Gun. Now, Yuno Miles is the modern and most successful version of this satirical low-effort style of music, where its low quality is played up to be comedic. Along with that, it's just way easier to make bad music with zero audio mixing and free or stolen or quickly made beats than it is to make good music with good production, which costs money, which is why in recent times there's been an increase in shitty, awful music artists making purposely terrible songs as a method of quick views and blowing up on TikTok and Instagram, because most of these songs are too explicit to be played on YouTube. And my 2 favorite and most recent examples of this are Broke Boy Swag and Jenny Journey. For context, I am a huge, absolutely massive Broke Boy Swag fan, and by fan I mean Instagram has been recommending me his videos since he had less than 100 followers, and he now has 77,000 followers. I have known about this man for longer than at least 75,000 people, and Broke Boy Swag, if you are for some reason watching this video, I have been ironically sending your reels to my friends for months, and I am your literal #1 supporter, and you owe me $1 trillion. Now back on track, Broke Boy Swag has been making excessively terrible hyperpop style music, which is both low effort in the lyricism as it is in the production. And his main method of getting popular is reposting the same video hundreds of times every day with slightly different captions about how he's inspired by autism, Asian women, South Korea, Japan, being kawaii, and feminism, I think. Stuff like that, really. It's just kind of like ironic rage bait. Until one of those videos will for some reason get blessed by the algorithm and is then given thousands upon thousands of views. And it has worked for him at this point. Good for you, Broke Boy Swag. The second person I mentioned a few moments ago is Jenny Journey, who makes explicitly vulgar music, whose online presence revolves around being a transgender woman with PCOS. She is transgender, but she has a disease which makes you miss your menstrual cycle. Now, I'll get back to this in a bit, but Jenny Journey has been extremely popular on both TikTok and Instagram Reels, having each of her songs have thousands of videos under them with comments that look like this. Because most of these videos aren't particularly funny, but the absolute absurdity in the music and lyrics is what captures people's engagement. So a lot of people use her songs because it basically engagement farms for videos on its own. Your meme doesn't have to be funny, because if you use a song like this, it'll be just funny enough for it to get you a few comments. Now, I want to talk about rage bait. Is this all just rage bait? If you don't know what rage bait is, it's when someone does something on the internet to bother or annoy other people in order to farm for interactions and engagement on the internet. And is it all rage bait? Some of it definitely is. Jenny Journey, for example, I'm like 95% sure it's rage bait just trying to get transphobic people to call her out. If she even is actually trans and it's not just, you know, for the joke that is this music and personality that they've manufactured to get followers on TikTok and Instagram. But all of her videos and music are always trying to talk about how she is a woman who can get pregnant and breastfeed children. And while I'm not trying to invalidate her gender if she genuinely is transgender, those are not really things that transgender women can necessarily biologically do. Which is where the PCOS comments come from, which is kind of funny because she'll point to her stubble and beard in a video and say, "This is just my PCOS acting up," which it's really funny because her saying that she has PCOS is why she doesn't get a menstrual cycle, while insisting she is a real woman to get people who may be transphobic angry and farm interactions off of them. And at the same time, the music is weirdly enough surprisingly high effort. Like, looking at Miles or even Broke Boy Swag, who also does hyperpop similarly to Jenny Journey, the production of the songs made by Jenny Journey aren't actually that bad compared to stuff that's like mainstream hyperpop. Like, genuinely, the beats are all presumably produced by Jenny, as she's the only one credited on all of her music. And when songs like Fuck Me for Core Blocks and I Love Furry Porn exist, I can't believe it isn't just rage bait when she makes videos calling her beard a product of PCOS. I think what Jenny Journey is just really elaborate rage bait done by someone who at least has some skill in music and just chooses this route because it's easier and garners larger success in less time, with Jenny Journey currently having 40,000 monthly listeners on Spotify this month somehow. But there's more. Not all terrible music made for TikTok is rage bait. Some of it isn't even made for TikTok. I've only really discussed ironic TikTok music up until now, but there's a whole other category of terrible TikTok music, being the music not entirely made for TikTok. A great example was this snippet from Summers. This song was really funny because after showing it to his fans, he got made fun of and just deleted the sound file from his entire computer. In response, fans clipped the segment shown and started using it in TikTok and Instagram Shorts because it's funny that he moans on auto-tune. And while this song wasn't made for TikTok, or technically even at all, there's also just straight up TikTok music. Music artists who purposely make their music with the idea of it blowing up on TikTok either due to music edits or trends or just being catchy without necessarily being a great song. Which is why a lot of the time there will be music on TikTok that you will hear, you'll maybe go to listen to it because the chorus got you hooked, and then the rest of the song is terrible or it's 90% chorus. This has happened to me multiple times. Now, some music artists who purposely make their music with the idea of it blowing up. In general, I'm talking about people like Odatari. You know, the worst music on TikTok comes from Odatari. You ever hear an Odatari song on TikTok and you want to blow your head off? Yeah, me too. Regardless, a lot of people will either make music that appeals to quick edits like Odatari, which, you know, people hear the fast song with the bass hits and then they're like, oh, let me edit a character over this. And a lot of it really feels manufactured to blow up on TikTok because realistically, who's listening to Anxiety by Doechii or Beautiful Things by Benson Goon or any Odatari song to the point where they become these huge trends on TikTok TikTok, or are widely used, despite the most common sentiment towards these types of songs being largely negative. So lots of music now is being made with the main goal to be usable in TikTok audios, ironic or not. But then there's a secondary route which is much easier than making your own music, and it's called Nightcore. They make Nightcore. Speed up any song enough, and now it's considered Nightcore. But the people on TikTok just say sped up because they're new gens who don't get it. I'm joking, I don't like Nightcore. It kind of ruins every good song it touches. Either way, most of the music on TikTok that gets popular is ironically pretty bad. Songs like Anxiety exist, and anything that isn't entirely purposely bad might just go viral for being bad by accident and cause you to wipe your entire laptop because you got clowned by your fans. I'm joking. I kind of just want to make this video because I've been obsessed with awful music recently, and I think it's funny that this new meta on TikTok, if you want to blow up, is just making terrible music because there's already so much of it, which is really funny because ironically I'd rather listen to Jenny Journey than a lot of the music that blew up on TikTok without being purposely awful, because Odatari, Anxiety, and Benson Boone are not on my list of music I want to listen to now or ever. If you like this video, don't expect any more mini documentaries. I mostly play games. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I love you all. Have an amazing day. Make sure to subscribe, and goodbye.